This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, this is the November 16th meeting of the Wallingford Zoning Board of Appeals. I'd like to start the meeting by saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm gonna read first how I'm gonna run the meeting, and then I got another little blurb I'm gonna read, and then we'll get started. Welcome to the November 16th meeting of the Wallingford Zoning Board of Appeals. I'm going to explain how I'm going to run the meeting. First, I'll ask that everyone that can please mute your microphone to keep background noise to a minimum and unmute when it is your turn to speak. I will do a roll call of all board members present. Then I'll do a second roll call to announce the voting board members for today's meeting. Once I call your application number, I'll then ask our secretary to read all correspondence to your application. When that is complete, I will welcome you and ask that you state your name and address for the record. After that, I will then give you the floor to explain your application. Once you have completed your application presentation, I will then call on the board members one at a time by name to ask if they have any questions for you. After that, I'll go to the public and call on them one at a time for comments. Once the public comments are complete, I'll ask the applicant if they have anything further to add before I close the public hearing and open it up to comments and action from the board. At that time, I'll call on voting members one at a time to ask if they have any further comments. After that, I'll ask for a motion and a second. Then I will run a roll call vote from voting members and present the results to the applicant. Anytime during the meeting, if anyone has something further to add, you can use the chat feature or raise your hand and I will call on you. Okay, that's out of the way. Tonight's decision will be published in the Record Journal on Friday, November 20th, 2020. The effective date of your variance will be Friday, November 20th, 2020. The date a certified copy is recorded on the land records. The statutory 15-day appeal period will expire on Sunday, December 6th, 2020. If you commence operations and/or construction during the appeal period, you do so at your own risk. Members present tonight, we have Sam Carmody, Tom Wolfer, Karen Harris, Lou Sherwinski, Ray Rise, and myself, Joe Russick, Chairman. Voting members will be Sam Carmody, Tom Wolfer, Lou Sherwinski, Ray Rise, and myself. If you are here for application 20-031, variance request for Colony Road storage, that has been postponed until the January meeting. All right, so the first application for tonight is 20-027, a special exception request for customary home application salon for Savo 3 Farm Court. Mr. Secretary, do we have any correspondence?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. In regards to application 20-027, special exception request, customary home occupation for salon for Savo at 3 Farm Court. Applicant is requesting a customary home occupation for home salon with single chair utilizing approximately 100 square feet plus access to half bath in lower level of residence. Off-street parking is available and no more than 2 clients will be present at any given time and no more than 4 clients on a given day at 3 Farm Court in a R18 district. There's also correspondence from the health department that applies to all of the applications for today, received November 9th, 2020.
Okay, thank you. Welcome. Please state your name and address for the record.
Christy Savo, 3 Farm Court.
John
Okay.
Stern, 3 Farm Court.
Okay, welcome. Please explain your application.
So I just want, I'm just putting in a single chair home hair studio. I am currently at a salon, and given the situation that the pandemic has brought, I just wanted to bring just a few clients here and there to the home studio. I have 2 small children. Nothing busy that's gonna, complicate our neighborhood at all.
Okay, so you're saying you're gonna have how many clients per day?
Per day, usually it's like 4, maybe 5, depending on what they get done. Given the rules now that COVID is in effect, we could only do 1 at a time. So only, 1 person will be here, depending on what they get. So 1 at a time. I can't do double booking, in that time period that they're here.
I'm her husband. I would just say that probably at a maximum, there could be 2 people here. If it's like a parent bringing a child in for a haircut, and the parent sits in the room would sit in the room with the child, and then that would be it. And if that client is done, she can't bring in another client until the first one is done. And sometimes when it comes to doing color and a cut, it might take a while. So you might have 1 person drive in. They might be here for an hour or 2. So you won't see another car come up the street for like another hour probably, because it takes a long time to get through from one client to the next.
Okay, my next question is hours of operation. What are you looking at?
It usually depends really on, my timing with my child, my children in school, depending on when I could really book people, given their work schedule. So sometimes I work from 10 to like 1:30, and then I have to go get my children at school. And then if anything, I would start back up at maybe 4 and end at maybe 6:30 or 7.
All right, because a lot of times with these applications, what we end up asking applicants is that we ask for hours of operation. For the simple fact is, and it doesn't necessarily mean you, but we've run into this, is that we have somebody comes in and says, "Oh, I'm just going to do a couple," and next thing you know, the neighbors are calling. They got cars all, and it's not necessarily a salon, but this is what we run into. So what we usually ask, and it'll be part of approval, possibly depending on how the motion is made, is we will probably add hours of operation and also days of operation, just so it's in for the approval. And that way there, if for some reason something happens and the neighbors start complaining, whether, you're out, it could help you, and, it could, keep everything in check. So that's what I'm asking for, hours of operation. So, worst case scenario would probably be better for you to give us a worst case scenario, and then days of operation also.
So again, it depends on my children's schedule, really. I mean, I'm
Right.
kind of going on, school like I said, so usually it's like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, some occasional Fridays, some occasional Saturdays, but it's usually no more than like 3 to 4, like maybe 3 to 4 days. And like I said, it's usually like 10 to like 1:30 or 2, and then I have to break, pick up the kids and stuff, and then it won't start until like 4:30, and then maybe go to like 6:30 or 7.
Okay, so I mean, just, and I'm just trying to kind of help you out here. So if you did 9 to 7, that would be, and then Tuesday through Friday, or Tuesday through Saturday, is that something you're looking at? I'm just trying to help you out, that's all.
Yeah,
So
I would
9
say
to
more like, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Tuesday through Saturday, and then hours of operation 9 to 7. Worst case scenario.
Sure.
All right. Okay, does anybody else have any questions? Sam, do you have any questions for the applicant? No. Tom Wolford, do you have any questions for the applicant? Yeah, you got to unmute,
Yes,
Tom. There you
yeah.
go.
Yes, I do, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. I have a question. The clients, according to the schematic, will they be parking in front of the garage door and their entrance to the salon will be through the garage?
Yes,
And then the exit also would be back out to the garage again?
yes,
Is there room there for the car to turn around and for the car to enter back out to farm court in a forward and they don't have to back out?
Actually, yeah, if there's only one car that parks in the driveway, then there should be enough room for a K-turn.
Okay.
The only reason why I know that is because I've done it myself.
Okay, hours of operation. Okay. One other thing, when you, if you have two appointments, if you have, say, a color in the first part of the day at 9 o'clock, and you said it takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours, when the next person comes, are you in control of the bookings? In other words, you tell them when to come in, so you'll know what you have in the time you have in between?
yes. Because before I start another client, I have to go through a whole sanitation process that
Right.
is now COVID, we have to do for COVID. And if they are either in the street, parked, I make them text me when they're there and I tell them when the next person leaves and I'm done sanitizing for them to come into the studio.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Tom. Lou Sherwinski, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Yes, I guess for the applicant and I guess for us in general. So when we say 9 to 7, are we suggesting that the last appointment comes in at 7 or leaves by 7? And I guess, how does that fit within what the applicant's looking to do?
Yeah, it's a good question. Go ahead.
So I wouldn't take anybody at 7. So the latest I would take somebody is probably 6 or 6:30. So, I mean.
So, and I think just to be clear, I don't think Chrissy's looking to take a hair color, because the color, like a
Yeah.
color, a cut, and a highlight, that takes the most amount of time probably out of all the services that she does. So if that's the kind of appointment it's going to be, that's something she'd probably be booking around 5 o'clock would be the last appointment for the day. If she's doing like a men's haircut that takes 20 or 30 minutes, that would be a 6:30 appointment.
Sure. And again, I just asked the question to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Ray Rice, you have a question for the applicant?
I don't know if it's a question for the applicant or a question for Amy. How much different does this application seem compared to a couple of the other applications that we had that requested this type of an operation in a residential neighborhood?
Each one is different, Ray,
Okay,
meaning it is a permitted use with certain limitations. No signage and no employees and such. That's the permitted use by special exception. It is the board's determination to decide whether this is in keeping with this particular neighborhood and the parking and such is available. So each site we've looked at and each customary home occupation that's been sought has been different and individualized for not only the services that they provide, but perhaps the amenities they can or cannot. It's up to you to determine whether this fits in the neighborhood and that it can be residential in character despite the services being provided inside. So I would say they're not the same. Each is different.
Yeah, I look at this one a little differently than the other couple. I just wanted to bring up that question just for discussion. This area I'm familiar with because it's pretty quiet up in that area, and unless there's some outcry by the neighbors that they don't want this type of use in that area, I would be inclined, especially during these times, to accept something like this. That's all I have to say, Mr. Rusick.
Thank you, Mr. Ice. Okay, do you have anything further you'd like to add before I go to the public?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
One question is, I mean, do we have a chance if, I'm sure some of the folks in the public have something to say. Do we have an opportunity to respond or answer any questions that anybody may have?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the public now, so when they get done talking, you don't, everything will go through me. I'll let the public speak, and then if there's any rebuttal, you can answer to me, and we'll ask you questions if there's anything, okay?
Sounds good, we'll mute.
Okay. Is there anybody here to speak in favor of this application?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
I'm Eileen Sassy. I'm at 5 Farm Court. Their driveway abuts my house. I do feel I'd probably be the only person impacted by this if I was impacted. But knowing
Okay.
what they want to do, this strikes me as an invisible operation. Typically a car in the driveway going into the garage, coming out, there is no impact in the neighborhood unless one of our customers comes up blowing their horns. I don't think anybody would be impacting it at all. There's no other house that's that close to the garage or the driveway that it would bother, and I'm perfectly for it.
okay,
They're good people. She's trying to get ahead. She's trying to do things with this COVID for her kids. It's got to be a go.
I understand. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else here to speak in favor of this application? Is there anybody here to speak against this application?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I apologize for the interruption. Did that party identify themselves with name and address?
Yeah, she did her name. She lived at 5 Farm Court. Her name is Eileen Sassy.
Okay, and there was some comment at the end. Was that the same person commenting or was it a different person?
No, same person.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yep. Once again, is there anybody here to speak against this application?
Yes, that would be us, Stacy Wise and Sharon Wise at 1 Farm Court.
Okay,
We have several concerns. Unfortunately, this would also affect us. Where to start? The parking is definitely an issue. It's an issue regardless. I know with 2 cars in that driveway, there is no way to do a K-turn with 2 cars. If she had clients waiting and they waited in the street, they would, especially in the winter, would they be waiting out there with their cars running? She says projected for clients, but that's vague. That's also as vague as the hours of operation. I certainly wouldn't want anybody in an appointment at a neighbor's house on 7 o'clock on a Saturday. I do believe it would add to the list of cars going up and down the street that are already in this small, quiet neighborhood. I'm also concerned about whether it would impact our assessments of property. Let's see, what happens after COVID? Would the amount of clients increase? The sheer privacy of the thing, and on the other thing, and we've been here since 2003. Even people such as the mail people, whether it be Prime, Amazon, or Mailman or UPS, sometimes mistakes the addresses. A case in point, 3 Farm Court ordered a rug, not even, I don't remember when it was, last year or a couple years ago, a giant rug that was dropped off on my front porch. So I'm not sure how a client going to their house with no sign, which I wouldn't want to sign, about how a client might not, per chance, confuse my house with their house. I don't know what guarantee I would have that somebody wouldn't be knocking on my door wanting a haircut. So those are some of our concerns.
Okay, you have anything further you'd like to add?
Is that it pretty much? Hours of operation.
No, but if I think it's something, I'd like to be able to say it.
No, but my mom's here, if she thinks it's something she'd like to be able to add to it, but I think that's it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go back to the applicant, and then I'm gonna close the public hearing. So if you have anything further, you're gonna have to add it now.
Do you see anything?
No, we got, there's no, I think hours
Assessments?
of operation, we got the parking.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, well, again, they gave us their hours of operation, and they gave us their days. Okay, thank you very much for your concerns.
The assessment.
Yes, and I hope you address, like I said, the assessments, the cars running, the potential to change those things after COVID. You know, like I said, the people waiting, the lack of parking, and possibly confusing our house for theirs. I mean, I'd like these concerns addressed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else here speak against this application? Okay, Ms. Savo, just a couple questions on the concerns. Is your house numbered? Is you have a number on your house?
Yeah, it's marked on the front of the house and on the mailbox.
Okay, and as far as your driveway, because there are concerns about the parking, how long is your driveway?
As an estimate, I'd say somewhere between maybe like 60 and 70 feet or so.
Okay, so you have a pretty long driveway then.
I would just like to add, there is many cars, like people have like come and go even in different households. So I don't think like 1 or 2 cars is really going to impact, you know, like the neighborhood. But I just wanted to.
I understand. Yeah, I understand.
I would say, I mean, I didn't measure it as part of this process. I mean, we did our best to, you know, we were able to track down a map of the property from Winterbourne that had been done a while back. We drew up the plans for the space. I didn't measure the driveway. I would say it's about the same as, with the exception of one driveway on the one, maybe 2 driveways on the street. It's about the same as the neighbors that flank us on either side. So if that's 50 feet, I'm not exactly sure, but.
Well, let me ask it this way, because I just want to try and cover some of the concerns and just try to get some answers. That's all. If you had a party at your house, how many people park in your driveway? That might be the easiest way for me to understand how big your driveway is.
I mean, there's
The maximum, I would say the maximum could be 4.
All right.
When one of the commenters earlier mentioned that if there's 2 cars in the driveway, then you cannot do a K-turn. That's absolutely true. If there's 2 cars side by side, you would not be able to do a K-turn. But you can't pass 2 cars up the driveway anyway. So you can really, you can pull one up and you can pull to the side, and then you can pull one straight in, and then you can fit 2. But if there's only one in the driveway, you can do a K-turn for sure.
Well, I think most people are probably going to back out into the street and drive off. That'd be my opinion. And I'll be honest with you. I would like to see. I mean, if you do get approved, I would just like to try to keep the clients in your driveway. I mean, I imagine you would. Just to, you know, it's a better way, I think, of keeping everybody happy in the neighborhood. One other question I have, and I think would be better to clarify, the Saturday hours. I don't think you're probably, my opinion, you're going to want to work till 7 o'clock on Saturday night. What would your Saturday hours be?
So it's an occasional Saturday here and there.
Okay.
So really, it's basically like maybe from like 9 or 9:30 to maybe the latest would be 1:30 or 2 in the afternoon. So that would be the absolute latest on a Saturday. Even in a salon setting, that's, you know, the latest I usually work anyway.
Okay.
And I also wanted to comment, I know that they had mentioned that about multiple people. I'm only one person. I could only do the max, even if COVID does, you know, disappear and all the rules go back to normal. I could only do 2 people at a time maximum. There will never be, you know, 4 to 5 people here all at once. You know, I mean, unless I have a babysitter here at the same time, but you know, that's a different story. So
Yep.
there wouldn't be more than 2 clients here at a time.
Okay. All right. So we're talking hours of operation Tuesday through Friday, 9 to 7.
And Friday, like it wouldn't be until 7 usually either.
Yeah, I realize that, but we're trying to cover you. So in
Yeah.
case there's a complaint, I'm just trying to give you a guideline. I'm not saying it's gonna get approved. I'm just trying to, so the other commissioners have an idea of what we're voting on. And then Saturday, 9 to 2.
And I just wanted to add about the, you know, winter weather and things like that. Christy has an arrangement where she rents a chair from a salon as well. So our plan in terms of, you know, concerns about winter weather is actually that they would meet her at that salon instead, and she would have to reschedule the appointments so that people don't have to come to the house in winter weather, because the salon is right on Route 5.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything further to add before I close the public hearing?
I mean, well, I'll defer to my neighbor Eileen if she wants to say something. I was just going to mention something about the, you know, making sure that people go to the right house. I know somebody asked if the house is properly labeled with the number it is. A lot of her clients, many of the clients that would be coming here, we already know and have a relationship with, and they know which house is the house they're supposed to be going to. So.
Okay, well, I've already gone to the public, so I'm at that point, that part of the meeting is over. So I'm just gonna, if you're all set, I'm gonna close the public hearing and go to the members for a vote.
Mr. Chairman?
Hello?
Mr. Chairman,
Ray, go ahead.
you ready?
For what?
Motion?
I haven't closed the public hearing yet. I just want to make sure that the Savos are ready, if they're finished. You're all set?
Yeah, I'm all set.
All set.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing and open it up for possible discussion and action by the board. I'm going to just make a quick comment. I know this type of operation happens all over town without people going through this. And in this stage of the game, with everything that's going on in our crazy world, I think what they're proposing is a minimal effect on the neighborhood. I don't see where it's going to be a big effect. And so I don't see a problem. But is anybody else, commissioner-wise, want to make any comments, or do you just want to go to a vote? So we need to have somebody make a motion, and whoever makes a motion, we're going to need to days and hours of operation.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for a special exception request for customary home occupation, hair salon single chair, as shown in the plans, and represented subject to the application received October 9, 2020. Subject to conditions of operation Tuesday through Friday, 9 to 7, Saturday, 9 to 2. So move.
Lou Sherwinski, I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. Motion to approve. Sam Carmody.
Yes to approve.
Tom Wolford.
Yes to approve.
Lou Sherwinski.
Yes to approve.
Ray Rise.
Yes to approve.
And I vote yes. Your application's been approved. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, have a good night.
Thank you, you
Bye.
too.
Okay, next application is 20-028, variance request for Morgan for a side yard of 12.5 feet where 20 feet is required to construct an attached garage at 131 Ridgeland Circle in an R18 district. Mr. Secretary, do you have any correspondence?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. In regards to variance 20-028, variance request side yard setback for Morgan, 131 Ridgeland Circle. Applicant requests a side yard setback of 12.5 feet where 24.7 feet exists and 20 feet is required to construct an attached single-car 245 square foot garage at 131 Ridgeland Circle in an R18 district. Site has existing below-grade 240 square foot garage, which cannot accommodate a vehicle due to low height profile and thus serves as storage space. The board should consider if compliant options exist to add garage area. For example, a detached garage located in the rear of the property would require a 5-foot side yard setback and would not require variance approval. Again, we also have notes and or correspondence from the health department. Again, applies to all the applications dated November 9th, 2020. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Welcome. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Glenn Morgan, 131 Ridgeland Circle, Wallingford, Connecticut.
My name is Ann Morgan, 131 Ridgeland Circle, Wallingford.
Welcome. Please explain your application.
So we are asking for a variance so we can build an attached garage to the existing home, which our house was built in 1953, and it predates the zoning regulations for the area. And if the house was, done with zoning regulations, I'm sure that it would have been shifted to the left a little bit, and it would have accommodated for the one-car garage at the time, and there wouldn't be a variance because the majority of the land we need is on the left-hand side. And also the way that the lay of the land is, or the topography is on our lot, it's the only place to put the single-car garage because the south elevation slopes down into where there was a 55-inch tree trunk that remains there because it was would cost in excess of $15,000 or $20,000, they said, to remove it. The other thing is the proposed garage that we're asking for, a one-car garage, is the exact kind of garage, or whatever when they say in step with the neighborhood. The majority of the homes on Ridgeland Circle are all ranch-style homes with the one-car garage attached, which we're trying to do. The other thing is that we believe that the garage would be a definite improvement for the neighborhood, which results in an increase in value and an increase in the tax base. And as one of the members stated, this shed under garage that was built in the back is 66 inches in height from the concrete to the opening of the door. And I happen to be 68 inches tall, which is 5'8", which is not very tall. And I have to duck going in and out, and it won't accommodate either of our vehicles to go into it. So, which is why we're asking for the one-car addition. Thank you.
Okay, so you're just adding on the one-car garage. You'll car attached garage, and your hardship is, house built predate zoning. And then the other part is the way your property is the one side where you have the room, it's just this, the slope and topography of the land is, not suitable for building.
Correct.
Okay, very good. Has anybody got any questions for the applicant? Sam Carmody? No. Tom Wolford, do you have any questions for the applicant?
No, I do not, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Lou Sherwinski, do you have any comments for the applicant?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. When did you guys purchase the property?
We just recently purchased it in, when was my surgery? June? In March, I believe.
Of 2020?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Karen Harris, I have to apologize. Without a video, a picture, you blend in, and I'm sorry I passed you up last application. I apologize. Do you have any questions for the applicant?
No, I don't.
I apologize. Sorry about
No
that.
apology necessary. If I had had one, I would have spoken up. I'm not shy.
Okay, very good. Thank you. It helped me out. Ray Rise, you have any questions for the applicant?
I don't, thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody here speak in favor of this application? Is there anybody here to speak against this application? Hearing none, do you have anything further you'd like to add before I close the public hearing and open up for discussion and action?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, I'm gonna close the public hearing, open up for discussion and possible action by the board. Unless anybody wants to discuss it, I think it's a pretty straightforward application. Does anybody want to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve the variance request for side yard of 12.5 feet to construct a single-car garage as shown on the plot plan of 131 Ridgeland Circle prepared for Ann and Glenn Morgan, dated September 12th, 2020, revision dated September 29th, 2020, and plans received 10/14/2020. So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Motion to approve. Sam Carmody.
Yes, to approve.
Tom Wolfer.
Yes, to approve.
Lou Sherwinski.
Yes, to approve.
Ray Rise.
Yes, to approve.
And I vote yes. Your application's been approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Next application's 20-029, special exception request for Palmeri for a garage area of 1,153 square feet. Maximum allowed is 936 square feet, permitted to construct an attached garage at 941 North Farms Road in an RU 40 district. Mr. Secretary, do we have any correspondence?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, in regards to application 20-029, special exception request for garage area, Palmeri, 941 North Farms Road. Applicant proposes garage area of 1,157 square feet, where 241 square feet exists, to construct a 916 square foot attached garage at 941 North Farms Road in a RU 40 district. Subject property is a through lot with 2 front yards and 2 side yards. Proposed attached garage is compliant with regards to all required setbacks and building coverage. And as I had mentioned before, correspondence from the health department dated November 9th, which applies to all of the applications.
Thank you. Welcome. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Alex Palmeri, and I'm the homeowner at 941 North Farms Road.
Welcome. Please explain your application.
Well, as it states, I'd like to construct an attached garage, and that would actually also include a little bit more living space. And we'd like to be, I have a lot of old trees on the property, and it's a windy area up here, and we'd like our cars to be indoors. And we have several. My wife has a car, and I actually have 3 cars, and I'd like to be able to park them inside.
Okay. And you said you're going to be adding a little bit of living space also?
Well, actually, yes. I'm going to lose a covered porch because the garage is going to abut that porch. So that porch will get closed in, and there's actually going to be 6 feet of closet space in between the existing porch and the garage. It's all on the plans, and they're all compliant with the zoning regulations. And I certainly hope when I'm finished, my house is going to look much nicer than it does now. So I don't see why it would have a problem. Anybody in the neighborhood would have a problem. Just like to have a garage. I like automobiles. I like to keep them clean, and I'd like to have them in a garage.
You don't have to explain that to me. I don't think there's ever been a garage built that's not big enough, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, I know.
Amy's
You know,
over here. Amy's not happy when I make that comment, but that's my feeling is.
Yeah, trust me, I wanted it to be bigger, but I tried to stick within the rules.
Yeah.
You know, I have a big piece of property here, and I have a lot of lawn equipment and things like that. And, you know, it's tough to keep everything under cover.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so you're gonna build a 3-car, add on a 3-car garage and have room for storing all kinds of stuff in there, cars and everything else.
Well, actually, the storage is the extra storage is going to be indoors. What I meant was there is an existing garage that where that stuff would go, and any other stuff that needed to be stored. The garage would hopefully be just for cars.
Right. Okay. Has anybody got any questions for the applicant? Sam? No. Tom Wolfer? No. Karen Harris?
Yes, I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
First, I wondered, how would the garage be accessed? From Reservoir Road or North Farms Road? Or both?
No, only from North Farms Road. It would actually even make accessing my home and parking cars, it would give us the ability to pull up the driveway, turn into the garage to the right, back out, and always be headed onto North Farms going out forward. There'd never be a need to back out the driveway anymore, which would help. But yes, it would only be accessed from North Farms Road.
And how many cars would this accommodate?
3.
3? And you mentioned an existing garage, but the existing garage is eliminated, so you won't have 4 garages. You'll actually have 3 when this is done?
Well, I don't intend to eliminate it immediately. And I just meant I didn't intend to use it to park a car anymore.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Karen. Lou Sherwinski, do you have any questions for the applicant?
No questions here.
Ray Rice, do you have any questions for the applicant?
No, I don't, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is there anybody here to speak in favor of this application? Is there anybody here to speak against this application? Hearing none, Mr. Palmeri, do you have anything further you'd like to add before I close the public hearing and open it up for discussion and possible action?
No, I think I'm all set.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to close the public hearing, open it up for discussion and possible action by the board.
I have a question for Amy, if I could address that question.
Go ahead, Karen.
Amy, is there a limit as to how many garages you can have on a residential property?
This is, first of all, everybody by right, if you will, Karen, is allowed 936 square feet of garage area.
Okay.
And it does go up a little bit exponentially depending on the living space of the home, capping at 1,800 square feet. So one can actually have 1,800 square feet without needing a special exception if their home was 3,600 square feet. So in this case, Mr. Palmeri is seeking to add what would be allowed by right, but he doesn't want to eliminate as of yet the existing single car. So that puts him over.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter whether we store a car or a lawnmower or pool toys. If it's classified as a garage, that's, the use of it is what we're looking at, not necessarily that it's cars.
Okay, so because we're not eliminating the existing garage, that is what puts him over.
That is correct, because if he were eliminating it, he would have been under the 936 square feet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Oh, no, he wouldn't have been, sorry.
Okay, does anybody want to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve the special exception request for total garage area of 1,157 square feet, where 241 square feet of garage exists to construct an attached 916 square foot garage as shown on submitted plans received 10/16/20 and property boundary survey map of 941 North Farms Road dated 10/14/2008. So moved.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
So we have a motion and a second. Motion to approve, Sam Carmody,
Yes, to approve.
Tom Wolford,
Yes, to approve.
Lou Sherwinski,
Yes, to approve.
Ray Rise,
Yes, to approve.
and I make a motion, yes, and your application's been approved.
Thank you very much.
Okay, have a good night.
Yes, everybody have a nice evening.
You too, thank you. Next application is 20-030, variance request for O'Malley, side yard of 17.4 feet, where 20 feet is required to construct a vertical addition dormer at 53 Hill Avenue in an R18 district. Mr. Secretary, do we have any correspondence?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, in regards to application number 20-030, variance request side yard setback, O'Malley, 53 Hill Avenue. Applicant proposes a side yard setback of 18.47 feet where 20 feet is required and 16.37 feet exists. Construct a full dormer and vertical addition to the rear of the dwelling at 53 Hill Avenue in an R18 district. Side yard setback is 18.47 feet at its minimum from roof peak, which is northernmost point of proposed addition. Existing dwelling predates zoning and has side yard setback of 16.37 feet at its minimum. Vertical addition does not include any changes to the existing footprint / first floor. There is also a letter from Thomas Ruggiero from 55 Hill Avenue, received November 9th, 2020. And again, there's the correspondence from the health department received November 9th. It has to be applied to all applications. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. O'Malley. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, Billy O'Malley, 53 Hill Ave, Wallingford, Connecticut.
Thank you. Please explain your application.
Hi, I'd like to add a full dormer across the back of my house where it's since my house was built pre-zoning, I was just trying to put a dormer on with a 1 foot in from the side, and I want to keep it 1 foot on both sides. And so I can't do that with the 20-foot variance.
Right. So as it looks like as explanation in this from staff comments is it was built, your house was built predated zoning, and you're already, because of that, you're already within the 20 feet, and so you're just doing a vertical addition, not expanding the setback as it is right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Anybody got any questions for the applicant? Sam Carmody. Tom Wolfer?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Karen Harris, do you have any questions for the applicant?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Lou Sherwinski?
No, Mr. Chairman, I do not.
Ray Rise?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, is there anybody here to speak in favor of this application? Is there anybody here to speak against this application? Mr. O'Malley, do you have anything further you'd like to add before I close the public hearing?
Nope, the only thing I have to add is I'd like to thank my neighbor Tom who sent in the letter, and that would be the only one that's really affected.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to close the public hearing, open it up for discussion and possible action by the board.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for a variance request for side yard of 18.47 feet to construct a vertical addition full rear dormer at 53 Hill Avenue, as shown on submitted plans received October 16, 2020, and proposed plot plan, land of Billy O'Malley, 53 Hill Avenue, dated October 18th of 2020. So moved.
This is Lou Sherwinski. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Motion to approve. Sam Carmody?
Yes, to approve.
Tom Wolfer?
Yes, to approve.
Lou Sherwinski?
Yes, to approve.
Ray Rise?
Yes, to approve.
And I vote yes, your application's been approved, Mr. O'Malley. Have a good night.
Thank you all.
You too. Have a good night. Next variance request is a 20-032 variance request for Protron International LLC for 50 parking spaces where 112 is required to develop an outpatient treatment center at 932 Northrop Road in an I-5 district. Mr. Secretary, do we have any correspondence?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. In regards to application 20-032, variance request parking Proton International LLC, 932 Northrop Road. Applicant requests parking variance of 50 spaces where 112 spaces are required to develop, in parentheses, the site as on outpatient radiation cancer treatment center at 932 Northrop Road in an I-5 district. Applicant will be proceeding for site plan approval from the Planning and Zoning Commission following determination from the ZBA regarding parking. Regulations require 1 parking space per 150 square feet, GFA, for medical/outpatient use. Based on the conceptual plan submitted with the variance application, proposed GFA is 17,370 square feet, requiring 116 parking spaces. Applicant seeks reduction based on historical needs and data for patient and employee parking from like sites in the U.S. Ability to add parking to the site as needed may change or for future alternate use. This, whether parcel is subdivided in the future or remains a single lot. Reducing impervious surface and maintaining open natural space is desirable, yet the applicant should clearly demonstrate the hardship associated, and the board should evaluate to what level reduction is relative to that hardship. We also have correspondence received November 2nd from Attorney Jim Laughlin. Have correspondence from Town of Wallingford Department of Public Utilities received November 10th. And like all other applications, there is correspondence from the Health Department received November 9th, applying to all applications. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Welcome. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, Mr. Chairman. I'm Jim Laughlin for the applicant. My law office is on North Main Street in Wallingford. With me are Pete Carbone with Protron International and Andrew White with Ty and Bond Engineers, a regional engineering company. I believe their local offices in Middletown. May I proceed?
I'm sorry?
May I proceed?
Yes, go ahead. Please, please explain the application.
Thank you very much. There are two items I hope to remember to refer to in my presentation. One is comments from Eric Kruger, Department of Public Utilities, the Water Division, as well as my letter of November 2. If I forget, I apologize. And a matter of clarity, and I apologize, I didn't apprehend the problem until now. In Amy's letter, she talks about one space per 150 feet. In discussions with staff and amongst ourselves as the applicants, it was our impression we were under a different subsection of the regulation that said 1 foot for 250 square feet, one space per 250 square feet. The difference is not that much. We thought that we were asking for 50 spaces where 112 are required. Amy says we're asking for 50 where 116 are required. The difference isn't that significant. I just wanted to point that out. We didn't just grab the number 50 out of the air. We met with staff and had a productive discussion. As always, Amy and Tom are great. We also met with engineering, and Eric Kruger were there. It was a roundtable discussion. And when we left, it was decided that the best thing to do would be to approach the board with what we thought is necessary. That's what the letter from Ty and Bond proposes, is what's necessary. It's going to be a cancer treatment center, a radio cancer treatment center, and whatever detail you'd like, Pete Carbone can give. It's very exciting. It's a partnership that Proton is going to have with Yale New Haven Health and Hartford Healthcare, two very successful medical treatment centers coming right here to Wallingford, and going to have state-of-the-art cancer treatment facility right at the corner of I-91 and Route 68 behind the Marriott. Very sexy, very cool, and very good for not only the visibility from I-91, but also for Wallingford's tax base. Proton is presenting the number 50 as necessary based on its uses nationwide. Attached to the parking analysis are letters from two of the facilities talking about their number of employees they have that are summarized in Ty and Bond's letter. At most, there will be 24 employees. That'll be during the day, the busier time, with no more than 3 or 4 patients. Excuse me for 1 second. No more than 3 or 4 patients at any given time. 24 plus 3 or 4 is 27 or 28. That rounds up to 30. So for us to say 50 is 20 more than really necessary, but we don't want to be piggy here. We want to be realistic. And based on that number 50, although we will have the smallest of the facilities discussed in the letter, that 50 will present more parking spaces per square foot than the other facilities nationwide. The purpose of our variance would be to protect natural resources on and underneath the property. And then also keep in mind, it will foster, it will promote our town's comprehensive plan when the law only requires that the variance not adversely affect the comprehensive plan. We are promoting it. Sometimes you'll have an application that is compelling. A little old lady needs a handicap ramp that encroaches on the side yard. Of course, you're going to grant that. Then, unfortunately, there are the more dry applications that are legally sound. For instance, on a 50-foot lot, if there's a 20-foot side yard setback coming in from both sides, that's a 10-foot area within which you're going to build a building. Very boring, but of course you're going to grant that. In this case, it's both compelling and legally sound to grant this application. I will do my best to illustrate how sexy and compelling it is. But if you have further questions, then of course Pete Carbone can answer those. And if there's more technical questions, then Andrew White can answer those. At the same time, I will try to keep my comments on the law interesting so that they won't put you to sleep, but I don't know that I can do that. But it's important because you want to hang your hat on something that is sound, that you know that would withstand judicial scrutiny. Compelling? Private development is finally coming to the I-91 corridor after decades of stagnation. Nothing's been developed from from New Haven to Springfield in the last 30 to 40 years. Here we are, two very productive, renowned hospital entities coming to Wallingford with Proton, with state-of-the-art cancer technology that's going to be highly visible from the highway. Ever since I was a boy, when this area of Wallingford was first developed, they talked about bringing to this area a campus-like setting, and that's what we've got. We want to preserve these trees as a natural resource because it's going to look more like the comprehensive plan has called for. The law says when you grant a variance, it can't adversely impact the comprehensive plan. In this case, not only are we not adverse to the comprehensive plan, by promoting the campus-like setting, we're promoting it. We're also protecting the watershed. The first letter I'm remembering now to talk about is from Eric Kruger at the Water Division, where he says staff is supportive of the variance request to reduce the amount of required parking spaces to what is required to adequately serve the intended use. Reducing the amount of impervious parking area in the public drinking water supply watershed will in turn reduce the potential pollutant load in the stormwater runoff into the public drinking water supply. We'll be reducing 20,000 square feet of impervious area. That's parking spaces and access to the parking spaces that we're going to be reducing. 20,000 square feet to protect the watershed area. Now the legal stuff. You're accustomed to the run-of-the-mill hardship, the little old lady who wants the ramp, the 50-foot lot that has 20-foot side yards. You're not as accustomed to hearing other conditions that will qualify as a hardship. For instance, if there is misinformation provided on town records and an applicant in good faith presents an application and that's approved, If it ends up that misinformation is discovered, that's okay to grant a variance. That's a case that I argued, Gallagher v. Town of Wallingford, some 30 years ago now, that was upheld on judicial appeal. In this case, we have good, solid case law where a resource, preserving a resource, is grounds for a variance. The case is Engen, E-N-G-E-N v. Town of New Canaan. In that case, it's a 2004 Superior Court case where the Superior Court overruled the appeal and sustained the decision of the ZBA, where the grounds for it was to preserve the architectural integrity of the property. The applicant wanted to build a garage and wanted to go this way because that was better for the architectural design of the property. And the zoning board said yes, because it was in a historic district and it was preserving the architectural integrity of the property. In this case, we are in the watershed. And the opening paragraph of the regulation for the I-5 zone says it's to protect the watershed and promote business at the same time. While you're promoting business, you protect the watershed. We have a letter from Mr. Kruger suggesting that yes, it's valuable, this variance, in order to protect the watershed. In addition, we're preserving the resource of those trees. In my letter, November 2, about halfway into it, you'll see virtually all of the trees are cut down except on 2 of the properties. If we want a campus-like setting, as called for under the town's comprehensive plan, we need those trees. And the applicant is proposing to cut down fewer trees to reduce the amount of parking spaces in order to preserve those trees. To be legally sound, the law says that an application for a variance, to be granted, it cannot adversely affect the comprehensive plan. In this case, we are not. We're actually promoting the comprehensive plan by making for campus-like setting. Number 2, it has to be unusual and unnecessary. The hardship has to be unusual and unnecessary. It is unnecessary. We are going to have 24 employees maximum and no more than 3 or 4 patients at the same time. That adds up to less than 30. So us asking for 50 isn't piggy. It's very reasonable, and that's all that's necessary, just as Eric Kruger has requested. And it's unusual because looking at that overhead photograph on my November 2 letter, you can see that the trees are waning in this area. And how can you promote a campus-like setting with indigenous trees when there's only 2 lots left? And if you're going to have us tear down even more trees, not granting this variance would adversely affect the town's comprehensive plan. So, thank you for your time. This is very sexy, and at the same time, it's legally sound. So it would be upheld in the event of judicial review. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I've heard so much about this application coming forward and this business being coming to Wallingford. It is exciting, and I gotta tell you, I love business. I love when they come to Wallingford. It's great for everybody here. And I can't wait to help you get successful in getting this done. So my question to you guys is, I understand that part of this application, you're saying you only need 50. You're gonna possibly use 30. There's 20 that you probably don't think you need. And that's sounds really great. Just one quick question. What's your plan if you need more than 50, I realize you guys have done your homework. You're not gonna come into this and do this, but what's your plan if you need more than 50?
Originally, you may see that we submitted an application where it called for subdividing the property.
Yep.
We are not doing that, so that if there more parking spaces are necessary, land to the north of where we're locating the building would be available.
Yep.
And if we were to submit down the road for a subdivision application of the property, that won't come for a while because we're going to be working on this property and we will have a better idea of what parking would be necessary. So land to the north is where the parking would go.
Okay, so we definitely have more room to expand if needed.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Since you guys are just here for parking, I'm not gonna dive into anything else that has to do with this application because it's way out of our jurisdiction. Anybody have any questions as far as commissioners? Sam Carmody.
I don't have any questions, but I think I will want to say something after we hear from the public.
Okay. Tom Wolford, do you have a question for the applicant?
No, I don't, Mr. Chairman, but I had a question on the expansion, and you asked the question, and Attorney Laughlin has answered the question. Thank you very much.
Okay, Karen Harris, do you have any questions for the application?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Lou Sherwinski, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Not really a question, just I noticed in Mr. Laughlin's letter, number 4, about the conditions, you know, if the use should change, that's something you guys are willing to add in there, that the variance would lapse if the use was to change, correct?
Yes, correct. And that's one of the things I meant to talk about. Thank you. I put that in earnest that of course, if we change the use, we're ready to have it a condition that this variance would lapse. But Amy is correct. She brought it up to me after I submitted the letter. If we change the use, then we need to apply for a change of use and the variance would automatically lapse. So thank you, Amy. That makes total sense.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Lou. Ray Rice, you have any questions for the applicant?
No, I don't. Very good presentation.
Thank you. Is there anybody here who wants to speak in favor of this application?
Mr. Chairman, Tim Ryan, Economic Development Commission, may I speak?
Yes, you can, Tim. Welcome.
Very good, thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I'd like to thank you for sharing your excitement for the project. Attorney Laughlin did a great job, as always, outlining it. I want to tell you that I have been working with Mr. Carboni from Protron International now for coming up on 2 years. 2 years to get us to this point, and we're not done yet. So this is a long process. This is a long game project. This is the single biggest and most exciting project in the town of Wallingford right now, bar none. I know your committee is money agnostic, but I just like to put it in perspective. This is a $72 million taxable project for this community. Beyond the money, it's not always about the money, but beyond the money, this will provide necessary cancer treatments to families throughout the state of Connecticut. Wallingford certainly is on the map. This puts Wallingford even more so on the map. So this is a significant project. Mr. Carboni and the folks from Proton International, as well as folks from Yale New Haven Hospital and Hartford Healthcare, have been a pleasure to work with. And I look forward to cutting the ribbon on this project. So with that said, I sincerely ask for your approval for this request tonight. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, I just want to add that this is a very exciting project. And like I said, I think I've spoken to you about it when I've run into you at different places. And I just glad they picked Wallingford. I'm always happy when businesses come to Wallingford, and when they do come to Wallingford, I like to see our board, and we are very good to business. We like to help them succeed here. Is there anybody else here that'd like to speak in favor of this application? anybody here like to speak against this application? Hearing none. Jim, do you have anything further you want to add before I close the public hearing?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so I'm going to close the public hearing and open up for discussion and possible action by the board.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a variance request for the 450 parking spaces. For 116 parking spaces are required to construct an outpatient radiation cancer treatment center at 932 Northrop Road, as shown on submitted conceptual plans received October 20th, 2020, and correspondence and documents received November 2nd, 2020. So moved.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
So we have a motion and a second. So motion to approve, Sam Carmody,
Yes, to approve.
Tom Wolfer,
Yes, to approve.
Lou Sherwinski,
Yes, to approve. I'm excited to see this happen, and sorry, Sam.
Ray Rice.
Yes, definitely to approve.
Okay, and I vote yes. Motion's approved. Your application's approved. Thank you and welcome to Wallingford.
Thank you very much. Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for the commission.
Yeah. Have a good night, gentlemen.
Take care, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
So on to more business here for ZBA. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the zoning board of appeal minutes for Monday, October 19, 2020.
Everybody good with the minutes?
So moved.
Motion to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
You need a
so,
motion,
huh?
you need a motion to approve the draft of the next
That's
year's.
what we're working on next, yeah. So we got the draft for the next year's calendar. I'm wondering, we'll have a little discussion here, if we want, before we approve this, because the next year, one of my favorite holidays, so I'm gonna talk about it first, it's Christmas. So December 20th, I think would be a good one that we cancel the December meeting because I like Christmas. So I just think a few days before Christmas is, we don't need to be here. How's that?
I concur.
Okay, so we will not have a December meeting, and there was somebody talking to me about this, and she must go on vacation in August, so there was also the possibility of cutting August out, because people do travel, and I'll admit, sometimes I'm not around too, so what's everybody think? You want to do August too, so everybody can travel and have a good time and start living life again, maybe?
Keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, no kidding. But so is that good with everybody? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm good with it. Yeah.
Okay, so we're
Why don't we
gonna
just have one meeting? Why don't we just have one? Get it all done in one shot.
That'd be a
it's
beauty.
gotta be a marathon though. It'd be probably about 24 hours.
Everybody
to
would
be-
make sure they have their stuff in then.
Yeah, huh? And be on time and everything, yeah. So we're gonna approve the 2021 schedule of meetings, leaving out August and December. So there'll be no August and no December meeting. So can I get a motion to approve that?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, I just passed that right off to Amy and she's gonna take care of that. All right, I have a letter I have to read. Not happy about it, but I'm gonna read the letter. The letter's from Robert F. Parisi, dated November 9th, 2020. To the Wallingford Zoning Board of Appeals, to Chairman Russell. Dear Joe, I will be resigning from the Zoning Board of Appeals by the end of November. I want to thank you for the opportunity to serve with such a dedicated group, and to you for your excellent leadership and the experience of working with you. Respectfully and in friendship, Bob Parisi. Bob called me last week and let me know he was sending this. I would be honest with you, Bob, I didn't want him to leave. I wanted him to stick around. He's a valuable asset to this commission. He's always got good questions. I gotta tell you, most of the times you guys got better questions than I do. But I have to say, Bob got me started in this. I went to a town committee meeting, and I've known Bob before that. He's known my family, so it wasn't like he didn't know who I was. And he pulled me aside and he goes, "There's an opening on ZBA. You ought to do that." And I was hedging on it. I'm like, this ain't me. I don't want to do it. And he kind of pushed me to get involved. And I'm happy he did, because I really enjoy this. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy doing this, something good for the town, as I know all of you guys do too. But Bob had a big influence on getting me started. And I think he's had a lot of influence on a lot of people, getting them started in politics or in getting involved in civically supporting your town. So I'm going to miss Bob. He's a great friend. We talk, we text. Anyhow, him and Joan are great people, and I tell you, I'm gonna miss him. I wish he would have stayed on, but I understand he served the town a lot of years, and sometimes you just don't want to do it. So that's all I have to say. I'm gonna miss him.
I can say the same thing about Bob myself. He got me involved with the Zoning Board of Appeals Commission back in 2012. He said, "Why don't you do something?" You know, because I wasn't doing anything. And he got me on here, and I've been there since. He's a wonderful person. He's just a bank of knowledge. There's no doubt in my mind, and I'm certainly going to miss him.
Certainly.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to echo all of that. I think that Bob has contributed a great deal of wisdom and expertise to our board, and I wish him all the best, and he will certainly be missed.
For sure.
I echo those same comments too. Same way. He's a great guy.
I mean, like I said, I wasn't happy when he called me and told me it. I've had this conversation with him before and talked him back. Told him, "Nah, don't go yet." But I understand it. He's done this for so long, you know, between the council and all the political campaigns he's been involved in. So, you know. Anyhow, all right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Joe, if I may ask,
Go ahead.
interruption. Going forward, are we still looking to virtually do our meetings?
I would say, till in further notice, I would say yes. The way I see the climate and the news and everything else about the pandemic, I don't see this changing, Tom. I would say we're probably, in my opinion, we'll probably go through, I'm just gonna guess, April. I'm thinking, I don't know that to be fact, I'm just talking. So I would say we're gonna probably go through the winter months anyways.
I know I'm going to stop in probably tomorrow into Amy's office and give her a copy of this, but Governor Lamont, there's a standing general order stating that all meetings of municipal boards and commissions must be held completely remotely, and or a way must be provided for members to participate remotely if a member doesn't want to attend in person. So I'll give this to Amy tomorrow, and she can use that to leverage anything upstairs that comes down and what have you. So if we're not virtual and you send out your text, are you going to come to the meeting? And we say no, it's because it's in person. But so at that point there, if you want me or those persons to come, I would say you have to provide a go-to-meeting tag here for us to take care of it. So.
All right, Amy wants to say something. I'm gonna say something first. I don't disagree with you, Tom. And like I said, the last meeting when we kind of had a little bit of discussion, we're here to serve the public. And if you guys don't want to come meet in public, if we were, I don't see it happening. I'm gonna be honest with you. The way things are transpiring in the world today, I don't see it right away. So I'm not really concerned about it. I think we'll be this way for a little while. I think I'm gonna say anyways, March, April. the way I don't see anything really changing too much. But if you guys don't show, we can't serve the public, so what are we doing? So, that's the way I feel about it, but, I think we'll be virtual for a while, but, Amy's got something to say.
Go ahead, Amy.
Hello there. Just a little reassurance that for the foreseeable future, there's no movement to go live. The ZBA has expressed their opinion and along with the governor's orders and such, I think all the boards and commissions are moving virtual, but we will be staying this way until such a time as we need to change it, whether it be your choice or God willing that, we have less COVID to deal with. But for the foreseeable future, we'll remain, and resources are in place to continue that. So just be
Thank you, Amy.
assured.
Thank you.
That's the plan, okay?
Okay, are we done?
Yes, we are, sir.
A couple things. No meeting next month. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Also, keep your South Colony paperwork and your Northfield Road paperwork, because we're gonna need those in January.
Thank you.
I got a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn and happy holidays.
Merry Christmas, Ray. Come on.
Just being politically correct.
Forget it. You? Oh my goodness.
That's a dumb one.
Oh God, Ray. All right, motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, all.
See you guys. Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Bye.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
All right.
Bye.
Almighty.